Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Beth Jones, and I am your professor for Biology 1 or Biology 105, which is our first course in our introductory biology sequence. Today, I thought that I would spend some time going over the syllabus for the class so that you know exactly what to expect from me and how you'll be evaluated during this very crazy, unusual fall semester. If this is your first semester at college, let me just say a special welcome. There's no perfect place to be in terms of school for this fall semester, but I think FMU is about as good a place as you could possibly have landed. The professors here are very interested in making sure that you have a good semester. We're all very approachable, and we all very much enjoy our relationships with students. So I would encourage you to take some time to get to know your professors this semester, reach out to them often, communicate a lot, and that is really going to help you succeed in this unusual remote environment. So today what I thought I would do is go through the syllabus here and just make some notes so that you are ready to go on Monday when it is time for class, okay? Now, if you are new to college, let me just give you my very first pro tip for how to succeed as a student. The first thing that I would tell you is make sure that you are reviewing the syllabi that are given to you by your professors very thoroughly. These syllabi sort of represent contracts between us and you as students, and they sort of tell you exactly what's going to happen and how you'll be evaluated throughout the course. Now, while these are contracts, so to speak, don't think of them as being set in stone. Most of us, myself included, view these as tentative plans. This is our best indication, our best thought out structure for the class. However, it is possible that we'll have something unusual happen this semester. We may have hurricanes. We could have additional limitations that are placed on us as a result of COVID-19 infection rates. And so we may find that throughout the course of the semester, we have to tweak this syllabus. If that happens, my promise to you is that you will always know what's going on. I have lots of different ways that I plan on communicating with you this semester via email, through Blackboard, and in our in-person classes. So all of that is to say that there will be no fast actions here that will take place without your prior knowledge, okay? So I'll go through my syllabus, and I'm going to encourage you to review your syllabi from your other courses as closely as we're going to look at this one today. All right. So the first thing that I want to point out to you is that, I'll make sure that this is on my draw tool. Yes, it is. Okay, so you'll notice that I have two sections of the course listed here. I am teaching two lectures for Biology 1 this fall, one on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9:30 and one at 11:30. Regardless of which of my classes you're in, this syllabus will apply to both. This is all of the contact information for how to reach me, okay? So please feel free to call me. That will ring to my cell phone. Of course, this is my email address. And one thing that I want to point out to you here is that I have set office hours for this semester on Mondays from 1 to 2:30 p.m. and on Thursdays from 2 to 3:30 p.m. Now, if you're new to college, what office hours represent are unstructured time where we as professors make a commitment to you, the students, that we're available, we are reserving that time. And so you can drop by for any reason at all, any questions that you have about class, topics in class, things that are going on at FMU, or even if you just want to stop by to say hello and get to know us a little bit better, office hours are a great time to do that. The way that we decide when our office hours occur is based on when there are gaps in our teaching and research schedules. So I am not actively teaching or researching at these times, and so I have made a promise to you that I will be available. Now, for some of you, these times might present a conflict with other courses or perhaps work schedules. And so if that's the case and you really want to talk to me outside of the context of class, please email me and we will set up an appointment to do that outside of my office hours. Now, I'm going to address this later in the document, but one thing about office hours that I want you to be aware of. Many of the professors in the biology department, we share an office suite. So we'll have like a central lobby, and then there will be offices that kind of come off of that like spokes on a wheel. What that means is that our office spaces are essentially shared spaces with other professors. And professors, we tend to be on the older end of things. So we have made in our department a mutual commitment to each other to protect one another by minimizing the traffic in our offices, the student traffic in our offices. So what does that mean for you? Well, my office hours are going to be virtual using the Zoom platform. So in this email, you will see a link to office hours. The meeting number and how you can log on to that. I'll also be posting that information on Blackboard. So you'll know exactly how you can reach me for purposes of getting in touch for office hours, okay? All right, so what is this course? So this is basically the very first course in our introductory biology sequence. So we have 105 and then 106, and those represent our intro bio classes. Now, this course is going to focus primarily on molecular and cellular biology. So you can think of it as acting as the foundation for all our future biology studies. Now, who needs to be in this course? Well, this course is specifically for folks that are either pre-nursing, if you are a biology major, or perhaps if you're majoring in other natural sciences, then this is the course for you. This is our majors course, and it is quite rigorous. If you are not pre-nursing or a science major, then you should really consider one of our courses that are designed specifically for non-majors. Those courses cover a very broad swath of topics, and they tend to be more generalized and honestly a little less difficult than this course is going to be. I'll be honest with you, this is quite a rigorous course, and so if you don't have to take it because you're, say, a business major or an English major, I highly recommend looking into our 103 or 104 courses. All right? Textbooks for the course. Now, there's been just a little bit of confusion regarding the textbook that will be used in this course, and I take some responsibility for that. The book that we will be using in this course is the Biological Science by Freeman, the 7th edition, and you'll know it's the right one because you'll see these two newts on the cover. But we are specifically going to be using a version of this text called Modified Mastering Biology Plus ebook. What is that? That is an online platform that allows me to assign homework, it allows me to assign tutorials, and it gives you access to all of the text all in one spot. Now, previously, the FMU bookstore website listed the hard copy of this book as the required text for this course. And so some of you reached out to me and you noticed, oh my gosh, I bought the hard copy of the book and now it says that we're moving online. If you purchased the hard copy of this book, you have a couple of options that are available to you. If you purchase through the FMU bookstore, then they have made a commitment that they will fully refund your rental or purchase cost as long as you have the receipt. So you can definitely return it. If you purchase from some third party like Amazon, then you'll need to check with those individual sellers. You could also keep this book because some of you may prefer to have a printed copy on hand in addition to the e-text, okay? The reason that I made the switch is because not long ago, we received word that the first few weeks of class would be occurring online. And let's be honest, there is the possibility, should infections become rampant on the FMU campus, we may at some point have to go remote later in the semester as well. So I decided that I needed to pick a platform that would be most useful to an online format. So that was the reason for the switch. The good news is that these online formats are less expensive than the hard copy. There are 2 different access codes that you can purchase for this online book format. There's the 18-week access code, okay? And that basically covers the duration of the semester. Or there is a 24-month access code that will cover 2 years worth of time. Now, who should pick which version? Well, the 18-week access code is probably best for students that are pre-nursing students and that only intend to take this course for 1 semester. So if you feel like you have a strong background in biology and that you stand a strong chance of being successful in this course and you're pre-nursing, I'm going to recommend this 18-week access to you because it's slightly cheaper. It's going to run you somewhere in the ballpark of about $80, give or take 10 bucks, okay? The 24-month access is going to be for biology majors who are going to take Biology 106 later. That will also use the same textbook, and so you may want to purchase it for that reason. Or if you're someone who feels that you're not coming into this course with a strong biology background and you're worried that there may come a point in time where you need to withdraw from this course and re-enroll later, perhaps the 24-month access is better for you. It's actually a little more cost-effective than the 18-week access. For 18 weeks, you're going to pay somewhere around $80 to $90. For 24 months, you're going to pay around $120. So it's just a little bit more expensive, but you get way more access to the material for a longer period of time. Now, I do not care where you purchase this from, but let me caution you about a couple things. Your absolute best choices for purchasing this material are through either the FMU bookstore or from the publisher directly. If you want to purchase from the FMU bookstore, all you have to do is log on to the website. They have the information for my course, and you'll get the appropriate access codes. If you'd like to purchase directly from the publisher, which is usually about $10 cheaper, my recommendation is that you wait until August 17th. On August 17th, which is the first day of classes, you'll have access to Blackboard. There will be a link on our class Blackboard page that will take you directly to the publisher if you'd like to if you'd like to purchase from them. Now, you may be asking why you might select the bookstore or the publisher. The bookstore is going to be just a skosh more expensive. It's going to be about 10 bucks more expensive, but you're going to get fantastic customer service. If there's a problem with your access card or anything like that, they have a very liberal return policy, and they're going to make sure that your product is working properly. If you go through the publisher, I'm not saying they won't do those things, but it's just going to be a little bit harder to get access to some of that customer service representation. Now, what I would not recommend is going through a third party like Amazon or Chegg or some of these other textbook options, and here's why. Different instructors create their courses through the Pearson website, and there are a million different ISBN book numbers on the market. So if you go through Amazon, the likelihood is that you may purchase an incorrect access code. The other thing is there are a lot of fraudulent access codes for sale on Amazon and some of these other platforms. And if you purchase through those third-party platforms, I cannot guarantee that if your access card is not working properly, that you'll be able to get your money back. So I highly, highly recommend that you go through the bookstore or through the publisher. Let me move this really quickly. All right, so having said that, let's go ahead and talk about some other things for the course. So in addition to being enrolled in this course, you may also need to be enrolled in our laboratory course, Biology 115. Some of you are already enrolled in that, and some of you are actually enrolled in my section, so you get me twice. Lucky you. Who should be in 115 and who should not? If you're pre-nursing, you do not need to take Biology 115. That lab credit is not required for you. If you are a science major, especially if you're a biology major, then you definitely need to take 115. And if you're not sure, I'm happy to answer those questions for you just to make sure that everybody is enrolled in the proper courses. All right, let's talk a little bit about the class structure, which is a question many of you I know have on your minds. So obviously, I've had to do some modifying to this course due to the spread of COVID-19 and trying to minimize that. For some reason, this wants to be over here, and I'm just going to move it down here in the corner. Okay, so in order to reduce infection rates, here are some of the structural changes that you'll find in this course that are going to be a little different from a traditional in-person lecture course. So first of all, this course has been designated by FMU as a hybrid course. So we're going to have both online and in-person components to this course. First of all, the lecture material is all going to be recorded for you, and it's going to be posted online on Blackboard, okay? All you'll have to do is navigate to our class Blackboard page and click on the thumbnail I have for you there, and it'll automatically play, okay? So what I mean by lecture material is if I'm talking to you about, say, meiosis or mitosis, or how the parts of the cell work, all of that information is going to be online. My expectation is that you will have watched those videos prior to coming to our in-person class sessions, okay? So let's talk about what constitutes an in-person class session. Now, when we go to fully face-to-face, which I'll talk about in just a second, we have about 54 students in each of these sections. And unfortunately, we are not able to fit 54 students in a classroom in a way that is safe and in compliance with CDC recommendations to reduce COVID-19 spread. So here's my solution to that problem. What I am doing is, in this email, you should have been told whether you were part of Group A or Group B. If you are a Group A individual, then that means that you will attend the lecture on Mondays. Group B will attend lecture on Wednesdays, of course, at your assigned time, whether you're 9:30 or 11:30. On Fridays, those days are going to be optional days for people that want to attend in person one more time to receive a little extra support from me. Okay, now you may be asking yourself, she just told me that the lecture material's online. What will we be doing at these in-person sections? Well, if you were going to a large, giant state university, you might have a lecture course where there's like 100 or 200 people in your lecture section. And so sometimes what you'll find in those courses are what they call recitation sections. Recitation sections are essentially tutorial periods with either the professor or a teaching assistant, where they go back over lecture material, particularly things that were difficult or complex, or things that you might have questions about. So that's my intention for our in-person sessions. You'll watch your lecture material online, then on the designated day and time, you'll come to class, and I'll go over things that I know students normally struggle with, or things that I think are super complex. And then I'll open the floor to questions. And you can ask me anything you want about the lecture material that you viewed. You can ask me about homework problems that I've assigned that you might be struggling with. I may have you do some sort of a challenge where I ask you to diagram something out. I'm really big on diagramming. You can see already that I do a lot of what I call chalk and talk. You'll find me writing a lot on the PowerPoints and things like that. So our in-class time will be spent going back over things that you're struggling to understand to help you really get a grip on the material, okay? So I should have told you in your email whether you are in Group A or Group B, okay? And the way that I determined whether you are Group A or Group B was I looked at lab roles, and I thought, well, if your lab is occurring on a Monday, then the chances are you'll be on campus that day anyway. And so I'll just assign you to Group A, you come to my lecture on Monday, and you go to lab on Monday. And the same was true for Group B. And then people that didn't have lab, I just randomly assigned you to Group A or B just to kind of keep my numbers even. Now, those groups aren't set in stone. So if for some reason you're unhappy coming to class on a Monday and you'd rather come Wednesday or vice versa, then please shoot me an email and I will do my best to accommodate your request. One quick caveat. The classroom that we are assigned to, so I'm down here right now, the classroom that we are assigned to has a 35 student maximum to keep the classroom density low. So what that means is I can only let up to 35 students at a time into the class. So if you email me and I don't have room, then I may not be able to accommodate your request, but I will do my very, very best. That also applies to Fridays. I told you that Friday in-person sessions will be optional. So what I find is that Fridays, particularly you know, in freshman courses, we're going to be online. A lot of you may have plans on Friday or you don't want to come on Friday, and that's absolutely fine. But if you would like to come on Friday, you don't have to, whether you're in group A or group B, you can go ahead and come, because my guess is that we probably wouldn't meet this 35 student maximum. Now, if for some reason there's a whole bunch of y'all that really want to participate on Fridays, I would encourage you getting there early, because attendance on Fridays will be on a first come, first served basis up to 35 students. But I don't think it's going to be a problem. My guess is that we won't top out over 35. Okay, now attendance at these in-person sessions is not mandatory, okay? You don't have to come to these in-person classes. That means that effectively, if you want to treat this as an online course because you're concerned about the spread of COVID-19, that is absolutely fine. What I will do is during the in-person sessions, I will have Zoom recording me at the lectern, just like I have today. And I will publish those recorded Zoom sessions on Blackboard. But I'm going to encourage you, if you decide that you want to take this class from home, I am going to encourage you to log in to those Zoom sessions, because you can still ask me questions from home. I'll just have you type them in or something so that it's not disruptive to the class. But you could still type a question to me in Zoom and, you know, Dr. Jones, can you go back over cellular respiration? Sure thing, happy to do it. And the reason that I encourage you to attend, even if it's virtually, is that what I find is that the students who are engaging and attending, they are my top performers. Those are my A, B, and C students. My D and F students are often those students who are not attending class. So even if you are opting to treat this as an online course, I encourage you to attend while class is in session so that you can interact with me and ask me questions. However, it is not mandatory. I will record everything and it will be available to you on Blackboard, okay? Now, one thing I should note, and that you probably already know, is that all classes are online for the period beginning on August 17th, our first day of class, all the way through September 7th. So what does that mean for you? So if you are group A, you will log into Zoom using the information that I provided in this email on Monday, August 17th. Our in-person session will occur via Zoom on August 17th. Wednesday, August 19th, my group B students will log in. And then that Friday, which would be August 21st, is that right? Then you can all log in. It's entirely optional, okay? All of those Zoom logins are in, excuse me, the email that this came with, all right? So that's how that is gonna work up until September 7th. But beginning on Wednesday, September 9th, that's when you can come to campus and come directly have face-to-face class with me if you so choose, okay? And if you have any questions about this, please email me. All right. Now, once we move to a in-class, face-to-face kind of situation on September 9th, I am going to require that if you are attending class in person, you absolutely must wear a mask in class. This is not a subject that is open for debate. As per the FMU reopening plan, masks are mandatory in all indoor spaces at FMU, and they're mandatory outside in situations where we can't socially distance. So I'm not sure that one comes to mind, but if there was something happening on campus where we were outdoors but quite crowded, then we would need to wear our masks as well, okay? If you have some issue with wearing a mask and you prefer not to do that, that is fine, but you need to go ahead and take this class online from home because I will not admit you to class. Now, what happens if you had every intention of wearing a mask and you forgot it in your car? Because I think at this point, we've all done that at some point. For the first week or two of classes, I'll have a couple of disposable masks available to help you out. But after that, when my supply runs out, I won't be able to help you out anymore. FMU is going to supply everyone with 2 reusable masks. So just make sure that you keep one in your book bag or something so that you don't get caught without a mask. All right, here's what you really want to know. How am I going to grade you? So the first thing that I want to point out to you is that in order to progress in biology, to go on to later biology courses, and to have the GPA that you need to have to get into nursing school, you need to get a C or better in this course. So you want to be up here, okay? You don't want to mess around with any of this down here. Now, I've already mentioned this is quite a rigorous course, and unfortunately, often students end up down here. You know, somewhere around 1/3 of our students sometimes do not make it through with a C or better. So how can you get a C or better? Well, there are 4 different ways that I will be evaluating you. You will have exams that will there's going to be 4 of them, and each of them are going to be worth 100 points. You'll have 4 quizzes. Each of them is worth 25 points, okay? 4 homeworks that are each worth 25, and then a cumulative final that's worth 200 points. So if you add all this up, that works out to be 800 points. So what that tells you is that your exam average is worth about 50% of your grade. Your quiz average is about 1/4 of your grade. Let's see here, is that right? Yeah. Your homework is worth about 1/4 of your grade. No, that's wrong. It's an eighth, and 1/4, I think. Is that math right? Yeah. So anyways, that tells you what the breakdown is for the class. So let's talk a little bit about what each of those assignment types looks like. All right, I'm going to scroll down really quickly. Sorry, I had already marked this up. Let me erase some of this. Okay, so let's look at the schedule down here. I think that's the best way to describe how this will all work. This, again, is really tentative, meaning that it is likely that we may end up shifting topics, or if we, have some sort of a weather event, some of this may shift. But this is my best plan for how the semester will look. Each day, this is the lecture that you should be watching. I want you to notice that on every Friday, you have something planned, okay? Whether it's a homework, a quiz, or an exam. My reasoning behind that is it's going to help you pace yourself. Since you are on your own to pace and watch these lectures, one way that I can help you be self-disciplined about making sure you get that done, because I think we all tend to procrastinate a little bit. One way to make sure that you get that done is to give you something at the end of the week that ensures that you have watched these. So for example, this homework here is going to assume, oops, holy smokes, let me fix that. All right, this homework here assumes that you have watched these 3 lectures. This quiz is going to assume that you have watched these 3 lectures. This exam is going to assume that you have watched all of this, okay? Let's do that again so that you get an idea of how I parse things out. So this homework at the end of this week assumes that you have watched these 3 lectures. This quiz assumes that you've watched these 3. And this exam assumes that you've watched all of this here, okay? Do you see the pattern? So we will progress in this fashion through the semester. Something to point out. Notice that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, already down here. I had to re-record this in case you're wondering why this is. Marked up. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 homeworks, and earlier I told you that there are only 4 that count towards your grade. What does that mean? I'm helping you out. You get to drop your lowest homework grade. Quizzes are the same. There are 5 quizzes scheduled. I'm only going to count 4 of them towards your grade. So that means you get to drop your lowest quiz grade. Now, unfortunately, there are only 4 exams. You do not get to drop an exam grade. So you really need to make sure that you perform well on the exams, okay? So your exams are here, 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 and here. Now let me point out something to you. This exam here is following our pattern. It's going to assume that you, oops, I keep doing that, my apologies. This exam here, exam 4, your last regular exam, is going to assume that you've watched everything since exam 3, okay? And that you're familiar with all of this information, okay? So what about all this stuff here? I don't have an exam scheduled down here, do I? Well, what I will do is I will include this on the final exam. Now, your final exam is going to have some material that you've never been tested on before, and then it's also going to have some of the stuff that I really want to make sure that you remember from earlier in the semester. Don't panic. I provide a study guide for the final exam because I know it's a long semester. We will have covered a lot of things. So I will guide you through what your final exam is going to be on. One thing I want to point out, this last week here, I have listed as catch-up, and you notice I don't have anything scheduled. My hope is that we will be able to stick to everything up here. This is Thanksgiving week, and it would be lovely, like this is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I'm a mother, and I totally want my children home for Thanksgiving if I can have them. And I always appreciate it if they don't have class on Wednesdays so that they can get home to me on Thanksgiving. So I'm gonna try to do that for you, okay? The only reason that these would be taken away is if something very strange happens in the semester and we have to push things back, okay? So let me go back up, and I wanna talk just a little bit more about how homework, quizzes, and exams work. So the homework, these are assignments. This is why I moved to that Mastering Biology online platform. So these assignments are going to be completed online using that Mastering Biology platform. Now I will show you how to access all of that. I've mentioned Mastering Biology a lot, and I mentioned Blackboard a lot. So one of the things that we're going to do at our first in-person meeting is I'm going to show you how to use those platforms, okay? So no panicking, I've got you. But so your homeworks are going to be using that online textbook platform. They are going to be due at 8 a.m. because they are online. You have to have them completed at 8 a.m. on the assigned day. So for example, at 8 a.m. on Friday, August 21st, let me erase some of this so you can see what I'm talking about. There we go. So at 8 a.m. on Friday, August 21st, that homework is due. Now, what happens if you miss that deadline? Because it happens, right? Everybody makes a mistake and misses a deadline. I will accept late work, but I'm kind of harsh about it because I'm trying to train you for what it's like to be in a university setting. So I'll accept your late work, but I will only accept it. You can work on it over the weekend up until Monday at 8 a.m. And I'm going to take half credit, okay? So if you turn it in late, there's going to be a credit penalty. But still turn it in because you know what? It's easier to recover from a 50 than it is to recover from a 0. So don't let one of the homework slip by you, okay? So I will not accept any late submissions after the 8 a.m. Monday deadline. Now, I mentioned there are 5 homework assignments scheduled, and if you complete all 5, I'm going to drop your lowest. However, don't just plan on not doing one because something might happen throughout the semester where you get sick and you miss a homework, and I'm not going to do makeups. I'm just going to drop a homework. So if you don't want to bank on not doing one, save that in case you become ill or someone in your family becomes ill and it becomes difficult for you to do work, okay? The same thing is true of quizzes. Quizzes are going to be administered online using our Blackboard software, which again, I'm going to show you how to use that during our first class meeting, okay? Your quizzes have to be taken, they're online, but you take them during the class period. Does that make sense? So on Friday, August 28th, you'll have a quiz. That quiz is going to cover this material right here. That quiz is going to be online, so you can take that from home, okay? If you choose to come to class that day, well, that day you wouldn't come to class because we're still online. But later in the semester, if you happen to come to class on a quiz day, then what I'm going to recommend is we'll put you in the computer lab or something like that so that you can take the quiz. Quiz is online. It's only open for the first 20 minutes of that class period, guys, okay? And after that, I'll shut it down. So if you aren't online taking that quiz during that 20-minute period, then you have forfeited your right to take that quiz, okay? So you need to be on time and taking it synchronously with the class, okay? Exams. Exams are also going to be administered online via Blackboard. And so on those days, I recommend you don't come to class, just stay home and take the exam. So going down here, your first exam is scheduled for September 4th. You're going to not come to class that day. Stay home. You're going to log in and take the exam, but you must take it at the scheduled class time. That's called synchronous class scheduling. So you'll take it synchronously. All right. Now, what about makeup exams? Well, one of the things that you'll learn as a university student is that it is paramount. It is very important that you are present during exam periods, okay? So makeup exams will only be given under extreme circumstances, and I'm going to ask for some kind of documentation. So, you know, I have actually had students with COVID, and fortunately, some of them have been really ill and have not felt up to taking an exam. And that's fine. If I can get a doctor's excuse, that's great. A lot of them just needed to stay home because they needed to quarantine, but they felt okay, so they could still take the exam. And that's my hope, is that if you happen to get ill, I sure hope you don't get too sick and that you're able to keep up with work. So I'm only going to give makeup exams under extreme circumstances. If you're really ill, God forbid if you were in an accident of some kind or something like that, and I'll need documentation. Now, the thing that you need to know is that makeup exams will not necessarily follow the format of in-class exams, meaning that the questions might be different. In-class exams will be primarily multiple choice. There may be a few short answer, whereas your makeup exam may be entirely short answer. Makeup exams are going to be different because I don't want you to have gotten the answers from someone who took the exam earlier. So I would caution you to stay away from makeup exams. Students often find that they're more difficult than the original exam was. All right, your final exam will occur during exam week, okay? The final exams are a little bit longer. You need an expanded time in which to take them. So if you look in the fall 2020 course catalog, you will find an exam schedule. And if you are in my 9:30 lecture, you are going to take your final exam on Friday, December 4th at 8:30, and you have 2 hours to take it. And if you are in my 11:30 lecture, yeah, that's right. If you're in my 11:30 lecture, then you will take your final exam on Friday, December 4th at 11:45, okay? And again, those will be given online, and we'll talk more about them as the time approaches. One thing that I often get asked is whether students can have some extra credit. You know, sometimes if it's your first semester of school, you might have gotten behind, you may be struggling a little bit, and you'll be tempted to ask me if there's anything you can do to get a little boost in your grade. And my answer is no. And the reason is that I feel like it's not fair to offer an extra credit opportunity to one student and not offer it to the entire class. So I will not offer individual extra credit opportunities. If I have an extra credit assignment, it'll be something that I open up to the entire class. So sometimes I might decide, maybe, let's just take enzymes, for example. Maybe the entire class struggled with an enzyme assignment, and so I may or may not decide to offer some extra credit opportunity related to enzymes, okay? So if I do extra credit, it'll be something that I make available to the entire class. Now, here's the thing you need to know. I don't plan extra credit ahead of time. I have no extra credit planned for this semester. I may do it, I may not. So my message to you is don't plan on extra credit as a way to boost your grade. You need to do well on the things that I have assigned, okay? And extra credit will just be gravy on top of everything if it happens. Blackboard and technology issues. So you've heard me reference Blackboard a number of times. If you're not familiar with Blackboard, it's our learning management system, and you will use it heavily this semester at FMU. Unfortunately, you won't be able to get into your Blackboard classes until Monday, August 17th, okay? That's why I'm waiting to show you how to use it, but it will be the subject of our first in-person Zoom meeting, okay? I will show you everything you need to know about how my courses are set up on Blackboard and how you can navigate those. Now, one thing that I want to mention is that this is a hybrid course. And by taking a hybrid course, I am making some assumptions about you. I am assuming that because you've decided to engage with a hybrid course, that you have consistent and reliable internet access, okay? If that is not the case, then let's go ahead and make plans now for how you are going to get internet access. We have internet available kiosks at the library, and the library has made some modifications so that students are socially distanced from one another and isolated. We also have computer labs all across campus so that you will have machines that have reliable internet connections that you can use to access your coursework, okay? So what I'm saying to you is that telling me that your house out in, I don't know, Marion doesn't have reliable internet, that's not going to be a sufficient excuse for why you wouldn't be able to get your work done on time. Now, something may happen, like if there's a thunderstorm and the power goes out at your house and you don't have internet, that's entirely different. That's beyond your control. And in that situation, you would call me and we would make accommodations for you, okay? But in general, you need to make sure that you have internet access. If you are having trouble accessing Blackboard, I have provided for you here the number for campus technology, okay? And they will help resolve any issues with Blackboard. If you're having Blackboard issues, it probably wouldn't hurt for you to shoot me an email as well, because then if I know that students are having Blackboard issues, I'll understand why students aren't accessing my course material, okay? So you might want to just let me know, just to give me a heads up so that I'm not wagging my finger at you, wondering why you guys haven't watched my lectures, okay? Quarantine and makeup policy, I think I've made it pretty clear that you can take this class from home. There is absolutely no penalty for doing so. You will not hurt my feelings. So if you are feeling ill, or if someone in your household has been feeling ill, or if you have any reason to think you've been exposed to COVID, please do not come to class. Again, it won't hurt my feelings. I totally understand. That's the whole reason I've designed the course the way that I have, so that if someone needs to stay home, they can feel completely confident about doing so. One thing that we are doing at FMU this semester to help account for any hardships that you might experience related to COVID-19 is we have modified our withdrawal policy. So if you're new to college, let me explain what this means. This, first of all, is not the norm. There is normally a sort of mid-semester cutoff for withdrawing without academic penalty. But for this semester, because things are odd, we are going to allow you to withdraw without academic penalty up until 5 p.m. on the last day of class. So you can withdraw without academic penalty all the way up to 5 p.m. on November the 25th, okay? What does it mean to withdraw without academic penalty? Well, let's just say maybe you're one of those students who was sort of teetering between a C and a D, and you know you need that C, excuse me, and you were just doing your darndest to pull it up. And you get to the end of the semester and you're like, I don't feel good about this. I don't think I'm gonna pull it up. And I'm worried about getting the D. I'm worried about what it's gonna do to my GPA. Then you might decide to withdraw. You'll get a W on your transcript, but it won't factor into your GPA, okay? Now it does count. You're only allowed to take this course a certain number of times. I think it's 2. So it still counts for one of your takes, but it won't count against your GPA, okay? Now, Sometimes you may decide you want to go with the D for other reasons. Maybe you need to fulfill a certain number of credit hours for your financial aid. And so if we come up against that kind of situation and you want to talk to me about what's best for you, I'm happy to discuss that with you. But you do have an expanded period of time in which to withdraw, okay? One of the last things I want to talk to you about today is this issue of academic honesty. With us being online this semester and at the end of last semester, academic honesty became something that we did have to deal with. And when I say academic honesty, what I'm really talking about is cheating. And that's not to say that I think less of people that are tempted to cheat. I do understand that college is a high stakes scenario. If you are taking an exam and you don't know the answer to something, you may panic and feel desperate, and you may feel the desire to consult your friend, Dr. Google. Let me caution you against that. When it comes time to take exams, I will explain to you some of the things that I'm implementing to help prevent you from being tempted to do that. So we're going to be using things like lockdown browsers. We're going to have some time limits, some things that I'm putting in place to discourage you from using any outside resources. What I want you to know is that my expectation for this course is that anything that you turn into me represents your own work, okay? Not group work and not work that you've sought out, like if it's an exam or a quiz in particular, not work where you've sought out extra help using the internet, okay? If I discover evidence of cheating or plagiarism, I may decide to give you a 0 on the assignment in question. And if I decide to do that, I will also be reporting it to the appropriate university office. If there are repeated offenses, that can result in course failure. And if you have offenses in multiple courses, you can actually be expelled from FNU, okay? And if you have questions about how this academic honesty policy works, I'm gonna refer you to your student handbook where there's information about this policy, okay? Busting students for cheating is pretty much my least favorite thing to do as a professor. I hope I don't have to do it. Unfortunately, it happens about once a semester, so please don't let that be you, okay? All right, enough about me being a hard ass. What I really want you to know is that you have access to me this semester. This is a tough course, but my job is to help you find your way through it. And I'm gonna do my very best to make that happen, even under these altered circumstances. So once again, the ways that you can really get access to me are by using those office hours that I mentioned via Zoom, by coming to the in-person sessions, whether they're happening via Zoom or you're actually coming to class. Attend those because you're going to be able to ask me questions in real time. Now, if you can't do those things and you choose to email me or something or call me, that is absolutely fine. But I do want to kind of lay out what my situation looks like this semester. In the fall, I tend to teach a lot of freshmen, and then in the spring, I teach upper level courses. And what that means is I have a large student load in the fall. So if you account for both of my lectures, I have 2 lecture groups, 2 lab groups, and a university life course. Altogether, I have somewhere in the vicinity of 160 students that I will be interacting with this semester. My guess is that with some online components, I'm gonna have a lot of email. Now, I pledge to you to get to your emails as soon as I can, but I'm worried that I may have a lot of email traffic. Normally, I would try to get back to you the same day, but this semester, I can't promise you that. So my best advice to you to get a timely response from me is to make use of in-class and office hours. If you need to email me outside of that, I will absolutely get to you as soon as I can. If I'm not getting back to you quickly, then remind me, because it could happen that an email has gotten buried. So I'm gonna ask you guys to be patient with me because I do anticipate a high email traffic volume. Okay, I think that's everything that I wanted to go over on today's syllabus. If you have questions about Monday, go ahead and email me, even though I said to restrict your emails. If you have questions about what to do on Monday, email me or call me. If you call me, be sure to leave me a voicemail if I don't answer with your name and your return phone number. Your return number won't show up on my cell phone because all of my phone calls are being forwarded from FMU campus. So if you do decide to call me, make sure you leave me a name and a return number so that I can get back with you. A students are going to attend the Zoom meeting on Monday, August 17th. B students are going to attend on Wednesday, August 19th. The links for those Zoom meetings should be in your email. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I'm looking forward to our semester together. Best of luck to you. Bye-bye.